Toronto, stay tuned right here with Toronto Mike, and it goes a little something like this. Hit it!
What up, Mike? Toronto. VK on the beat. Check. I'm in Toronto, where you wanna get the city love. I'm from Toronto, where you wanna get the city love. I'm in Toronto, like we wanna get the city love. My city love me back for my city love.
Welcome to episode 1685 of Toronto Mic'd, proudly brought to you by Great Lakes Brewery, a fiercely independent craft brewery who believes in supporting communities, good times, and brewing amazing beer. Order online for free local home delivery in the GTA. Palma Pasta. Enjoy the taste of fresh, homemade Italian pasta and entrees from Palma Pasta in Mississauga and Oakville. Yes, we are open. An award-winning podcast from Moneris, hosted by FOTM Al Grego. Toronto Maple Leafs baseball. Join me May 11th at Christie Pitts as Sato becomes the first woman in our country to pitch against a professional men's team. Be there 1:30 beyond the left field fence. RecycleMyElectronics.ca. Committing to our planet's future means properly recycling our electronics of the past. Building Toronto's Skyline, a podcast and book from Nick Iones, sponsored by Fusion Corp Construction Management Inc. And Ridley Funeral Home, pillars of the community since 1921. Joining me today, making his Toronto Mike debut, is Darren O'Brien, a.k.a. Snow. Welcome, Darren. Did you bring an entourage, Darren? What's going on here?
I always do.
So I see an FOTM, fellow FOTM, Paul Farberman. Hello to Paul.
Good to see you again, Mike.
Big Leaf fan. And who's this gentleman here?
That's Frankie Farzi from Mississauga.
Okay.
So yeah, that's just partners and stuff.
So what do you and Frankie do together?
Just set up everything. Just you know.
Is he your right hand man?
Yeah, try to take over the world. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So him and Paul, you know. So we got big things coming. So they just work on things and we try to do things. You know.
Let me ask you a question about Paul.
Yeah.
He can't hear us. He didn't put headphones on.
Good.
Okay. Did you know? I'm just kidding. Did you know that Paul dated the first woman VJ in Much Music history? Did you know this, Catherine McClanahan?
Yeah, I remember you telling me about that too.
I just think that's a mind.
Look, he's
no.
blushing. He's blushing. We got to set them back up, maybe.
Catherine McClanahan. And when I asked Paul about
Farberman, you mean?
Oh, well, future Farberman, of course. And then I said something about best time of your life, right, Paul? And he had this smile on his face, and he went, "Yeah," like that. He peaked.
Yeah, that was the peak. Yeah,
man, and
that's almost my favorite mask up there.
Okay, that
almost
predates all the Jason nonsense, man. That's the OG mask. Are you a hockey fan?
Yeah, my favorite mask was Tony Esposito, so it's a little bit like that, but not the same.
Tony Esposito. Hey, are you a Leaf fan?
Of course.
Well, they're playing.
My cousin
tonight.
is Brad Park.
See, Boston Bruins. You mentioned you were also friends with Doug Gilmour, right? I'm wearing a Gilmour jersey right now. You're friends with the killer?
Yeah, oh yeah. He it's funny because I can't skate, I can't ski, I can't sled, I can't do nothing with the snow. I don't know. I never did drugs, so it's like I don't know why my name is Snow.
Well, that's my first question. How the hell does a guy who doesn't skate, ski, or snort the coke, as they were doing at Much Music back in the day, as Paul knows? How come you are named Snow? Where does that come from?
The skin.
It's because you're a white guy.
That's it. So he called me up and he was like, "We have a charity hockey event down in Florida. Dougie Gilmour, Lee, a whole bunch of them, and we want you to come play." I'm like, I can't even skate. They're like, perfect, even be better. So I flew to Florida, got all the equipment on, right? They get me all the equipment.
Yeah.
And I'm in the dressing room with Dougie and everybody, and I'm tying my skates up, and I wrap it around, and it goes all the way around a couple times, and then I put the bow in the back. I do the same thing like that, put the bow in the back, and Dougie's looking at me. He's like, I've never seen that in my life. The bow was in the back of the skates, right? So I went on,
It's
ankle burn.
hard to do that back there, right?
Yeah, so it's like, but He was like, "What the hell? I've never seen that ever." I was like, "Yeah, well, that's my hockey. This is my hockey debut."
But you didn't play as a kid? You're a Toronto guy, right? You didn't
No.
play house league as a kid?
No, nothing. Ball hockey every night. Ball hockey outside in Allenbury. My projects, Then we went to Fairview Mall because we had under the bay, so that was our, we could play under there.
Okay, my friend. So I'm wearing this Gilmore, not just because the Leafs have a big game tonight at 8 o'clock. Game 1 of the second round against the Florida Panthers. I just found out Paul Farberman is taking me to the game on Wednesday. Is that correct?
Crazy.
Nah, he said he's not taking me, but he's going to the game on Wednesday. Yeah, please. Won't hold my breath. But so the reason I'm wearing this jersey is because I bought this jersey in 1992. Snow. Do I call you Darren or Snow?
Whatever you feel.
Can I call you Snow?
You call me Snow.
Snow. Okay, Snow. Do you remember 1992?
Do I remember 1992?
Yeah, we're going back to 92 here.
Yeah.
All right, so here's what we're going to do.
I was thinking, did we win the Stanley Cup in 92? I was like, no, it was, what do you call it? It was
but we won the World Series.
I was in jail.
Okay, so I need this story. I feel like
Yeah.
this is a definitive. So I'm going to crack open a Great Lakes beer, okay?
Yeah,
They
see,
sent
I
over-
would love to crack open that beer, but I'll go back to jail. So you don't have bail money, do you? You got bail money?
we'll pass around the hat.
We'll
We'll
crack
pass
it. We'll crack it open.
Hold on, I'm going to say cheers to Frank,
Yeah.
who's also drinking a... By the way, this is my beer of summer, Sunnyside Session IPA. Let me know what you think of it. Yeah. Okay, good. It's delicious, and it's only like 3.9%, so I don't start slurring after a couple of these. That's key. So you don't drink at all, right, Darren?
No, not since 97.
Okay. Is it you stopped because you had a problem? Is that right?
I didn't have a problem. Like I wasn't like I never had alcohol at my house. You know what I mean? Like crack open a bottle and drink at my house. But it got me to where like every time I drink, I just want to fight, and so
Well,
that time there, what happened was I had a charge, and I had two charges. One judge called me, my mother, family scumbags. They're like, you and your family are scumbags. So I was like, all right, I'm used to that. That's the judge, whatever. And then the other charge I had, he said, Mr. O'Brien, he says, it seems your family's here and you haven't brought the violence to you, like domestic violence and all that stuff. It seems you have a big heart and blah, 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 telling me all this good stuff. I'm like, what? This is 1997. He's like, I'm going to give you a year, but if you on the street, if you mess up, then you got to come back and then whatever I got to do to you.
But in 97, you're already a guy with a Billboard Hot 100 #1 hit, right? Like,
Yeah.
so I want to set the table for when Informer breaks, and then I got to play a bit of that because everybody's waiting to hear a bit of that. But like, so set the table. Like, who are you, Darren, before the world hears Informer? Like, give me the details. I guess Paul
right.
told you I'd like the nitty-gritty details.
Get to the nitty-gritty. But let me, to finish that, whatever, I was in 97. This was 97. I'll go back, but in 97, this was my second charge, and then the judge was saying, oh, you got a big heart, you took care of your family, you took care of your mother, blah, 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 and telling all this good stuff. And I'm like, yo, So when I left the court, right when I left out the court, I said, Dad, you want to quit drinking? He's like, what are we going to do? I was like, I don't know, we'll smoke weed.
Yeah.
Because I didn't smoke weed until I was 30. I lived in Jamaica, coca tea, everything. I didn't smoke weed. So I was like, you want to smoke weed? He was like, yeah, okay, we'll smoke weed. So in 97, we stopped drinking together and we started smoking weed. And ever since then, I have no charges and I've been just flubbing.
Well,
but let's
it's
go
working for you, so
back.
don't
It's
change a thing.
No, it's working for me.
So who's taking home the fresh craft beer from Great Lakes Brewery? Is it
Frankie.
Frankie's taking it home?
Yeah.
All right, this is yours, man.
Oh, he's got a 4-pack.
Fresh
Yeah.
GLB.
They're all different flavors.
Yeah, different. There's the Canuck Pale Ale in there. There's the Premium Lager. There's
And that's
the
all Canadian,
Sunnyside.
right? Done in Canada?
Brewed here in Southern Etobicoke.
Oh,
You
right
kidding
down
me?
the street.
Right down the street.
So where do we get the skids of it?
Well, okay, well, you they're at LCBOs, but my friend, this is key because Paul, you're gonna be there. You're gonna be in town on June 26th.
I am.
Okay, because TMLX 19, the 19th Toronto Mike Listener Experience, is at Great Lakes Brewery, which is down the street from the Costco at 30 Queen Elizabeth Boulevard, and Paul Maposta is gonna feed us. So, Darren, you got to come too.
I'd love to come. Pause. We'll figure it out.
Okay, then one more shout out before I get this Informer story is I got a book. See these books?
Yeah.
That's the history of Toronto Maple Leafs baseball. They play at Christie Pitts. And on May 11th, which is actually this coming Sunday, there's a Mother's Day. At 1:30 p.m., we're all collecting FOTMs, Friends of Toronto Mike. We're going to collect beyond the left field fence where the Maple Leafs of baseball play, because there's this Japanese woman named Sato who's going to pitch the first time in the history of Canada a woman has pitched against a men's pro baseball team. This is happening on Sunday. Everyone's invited. It's a free event, and you should come to Christy Pitts. May 11th. You should come too. He's thinking about what he's doing.
That's next week.
That's coming up.
That's
Sunday at
Saturday.
1:30. Yeah, I'm serious.
Yeah.
Yeah, even to make hell, you could throw out the first pitch, Darren. I'm telling you, man. You want to throw out the first pitch to this game? She's throwing out the first real pitch. I'm talking about the ceremonial first pitch. We got to get someone to do that.
Maybe.
All right.
Maybe. Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Okay.
'Cause I can throw.
Because
I go to the C&E and I smash all them plates, eh? Boom, 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 boom. I'm going home with 10.
Licky, boom, boom, down.
I'll lick it, boom, boom, down, right down the plate.
Darren, I have the owner on speed dial. Right after this, I could have him on a phone. If you wanted to throw out the ceremonial first pitch on Sunday for the home opener of the Maple Leafs at Christy Pitts, I can make that happen. TMLX 18.
All right.
It's happening. Okay.
All right.
Paul's into it, and so is Frankie here. Okay. So I got to get the story. Set the table. Let me know when I can play some of this song, because people probably haven't heard it in a couple hours. But we got to talk about Informer. Like, who are you at that time, and how does it break? How does it come together? Please tell me the definitive Informer story.
All right. I grew up in a place called Allenbury, and it's like housing project, and it's by Fairview, Maldon Mills, and Shepherd. Okay. It's the first planned community in Canada. It's top of the mountain. It's the most magical place in the planet, right? So I grew up there, but I grew up in a housing project and a lot of, say, Irish, Newfies. So when I grew up, I seen a lot of drinking, a lot of fighting. Boom, this guy, Danny Anderson, he was the toughest in the, he had all the girls. They say, Sunshine, how you doing, Sunshine? And I wanted to be like Danny Anderson. I wanted to have all the girls and fight. That's all I wanted to do. I didn't want to be a singer. I didn't want to be nothing else but that.
Right.
But then I started getting into, crime and started boosting and stuff like that and getting into a lot of trouble in the neighborhood, getting charged when I was 15 for armed robberies and, a whole bunch of just, wild stuff. So then 1989 is when I got charged. I went to a party, and there was a party, and somebody pulled a fire alarm. So everybody was outside the hotel, and I came there, and I started singing. That wasn't Snow. Then this was 89. I didn't even have the name then. And then I was like, the girls were like, oh, and I was like, and the guys were like, and they got a little jealous. So I punched one in the face. They started chasing me, and then everything happened, fight, and then the knives came out, and two guys got stabbed bad. And they charged me, but I didn't do it.
Right.
Right? So they charged me for what the other guy did for 2 attempt murders. So then I went to jail for the 2 attempt murders. And while I was in jail, I was in there with my brother, my Uncle Patty, my Uncle Terry, my father. Everybody were all in the same range, all in the same cell.
Wow.
So that was 89 to 90. And then I wrote that little piece, Informer. But I didn't want to be a singer. It wasn't like, I want to be a singer. I was just like, into the reggae music. Because when I was like 15, I was into the hip hop. Then 16 years old, then I started getting into the reggae hard. Because a lot
Are you talking like Shabba Ranks? What are we talking about here?
No, before Shabba.
Before Shabba.
Yeah, like Coca T and Tennyson, 1985, stuff like that. Like you couldn't get this stuff on CD, you know what I mean? It was hard. I used to get live tapes, cassettes, and play them. And so I got really into the reggae music. And then that's when I went to jail for the 89, and I wrote that song Informer, a little piece.
So it just came to you, this piece? Like,
after I got charged, then I was in jail, and that little piece came to me. And, so there's no way I go blind. Down, take the money, say, let me stab somewhere down the lane. So they said I stabbed somebody. So then it just came to me. And then I just had that piece in my head. And then when I came out, which I beat the charge, I had a jury trial, big jury trial. And the guy who actually did the charge, he did the crime. He actually got up on the stand and said he did it. And they found me not guilty. I got out nicely. I was, out of jail now. I was out for a week. They charged me again with assault causing bodily harm. I was like, They gave me a $60,000 bail. That was in 90, 91, whatever. Then I went to New York, right? And met MC Shan. And that's when I met MC Shan on the street corner, and then he was like, yo, let me hear you. And I was like, he's like, yo, come to my house. And I was like, all right, Shan. But still, I didn't want to make an album. I was just cool to meet MC Shan. So I was like, what? We went back to his house. And that was it. We just started doing the album, Girl I've Been Hurt, Lonely Monday Morning, and all them kind of songs.
Jeez. Okay, I got to play this song, man. So let's play a bit of this song, and then I'll
Yeah.
get more details here. Here we go.
What's up, man? Hey, yo, what's going on, yo? I'm sick and tired of 5-0 running up on the block, you know what I'm saying? Yo, Snow, they came around looking for you the other day. Word, bust it.
Informer, you know, say that I'm a snowman, I go blam. I like keep on down. Take the man that say that I'm a snowman, stamp somewhere down the lane. I like keep on down. Informer, you know, say that I'm a snowman, I go blam. I like keep on down. Take the man that say that I'm a snowman, stamp somewhere down the lane. I like keep on down. Please, I'm gonna come in and they blow down my door. Rain it can pour through my window, so they put me in the back the car at the station. From that point on, I reached my destination. Where the destination region out of east detention. Where I look down my pants, look up my bottom. So informer, you know, say that I'm a snowman, I go glam. I like it boom boom down. Take the man that say that I'm a snowman, stop somewhere down the lane. I like it boom boom down. Informer, you know, say that I'm a snowman, I go glam. I like it boom boom down. Take the man that say that I'm a snowman, stop somewhere down the lane. I like keep on down, so big on them all, they think them have more power. They on the phone, me say they wanna want me for once I use it once and now me call me lover. Love who me calling on the one tell me, and me lover in my heart down to my belly. Yes, and now my stomach, I feel cool and deadly. It's the one MC Shine and the one that is Snow. Together we all have a Mr. Tornado Informer.
So, Snow, when you listen to this in the headphones right now in the TMDS basement studio, what are you thinking right now as you listen to this song?
Not about the song.
No?
No,
Are you doing your taxes?
I was thinking about my lemonade. I was thinking about this water was shaking. You know, different thing. But what I was actually thinking, because I have a couple shows coming up in Spain and Denmark in July 26th. We have a show in Denmark, and that's what I was thinking. I was thinking, okay, let me just. They haven't seen me there in a while singing this song, so it should be a fun show.
Originally, when this video comes out, there's no subtitles, right?
No, it started to like go off the charts, and then they said, okay, boom. They put the subtitles and went back to number one again.
Okay, so there's the famous Toronto legend or whatever is that when this song breaks, that you're in jail. Are you in jail when this song breaks, or no?
Kind of, but not like kind of. Like what happened was I went, and I remember I told you I went down and did it with MC Shan, saw him, did the record, blah, 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 went to Warner Brothers, Rockefeller, signed the contract, and I'm like, yeah, but guys, I gotta go home. I got trial on assault causing bodily harm next week.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right, whatever. So they were like, okay, we got to do the video. All right, so I was like, all right, I've never did a video before in my life. So I'm at Silver Cup Studios, you know that in New York City, right? And I'm there doing the video, and so left the video, never seen the video edited because back then it usually could take months,
Right.
to edit a video, and I never heard my album mixed. You know what I mean? Because back then you couldn't just put it on CD and I could take it home. No, it was we had the reels, the big reels, so we had to mix. It'd take a while to mix it, so I didn't hear the album mix and I didn't see the video. So now I go back to Toronto and the judge is like, it's the same judge that DO'd me on my 2 attempt murders, right?
Yeah.
Same judge.
Okay.
So now the Crown is asking for a year, right? So the Crown says, okay, we're asking for a year. So the judge says, all right. But then my lawyer says, Your Honor, you detained him for a year in custody and he was found not guilty. So the judge says, oh, you got a year credit then. I'm like, what? The Crown's asking for a year, boom, boom, boom. I'm out today, right? He's like, but I was going to give you a hell of a... He's a prick, this guy, Humphreys. Oh, he's a bad judge.
Yeah.
And because what happened was he used to be a mob judge, right? So my lawyer was a mob lawyer, and he used to be... So then he became a judge. So now he don't like my lawyer because he thinks that he's dealing with all these whatever. I was going to give you a hell of a lot, 1 year. So he gives me a year plus the year that the Crown's asking for. So he gives me a year. And I look back and see all my, man with everybody. I said, all right, see you later. I didn't even think the album was going to come out. Didn't really think anything. You know what I mean? So I went to jail. I'm in jail, so I got a year. So about like the 7th month, I'm in there. And they said, Snow or O'Brien, you got a message at the Bubble. So I go to the Bubble, right, and I get it, and they're like, oh, call Jimmy. All right, so I said, oh, shit. he was inside with me, but now he's out. So I called Jimmy. I said, "What's up, brother? What up, brother?" He's "I saw you on TV." I'm like, "Nah, it's not out yet." He's like, "Yes, I saw your video on Much Music. It's you." I'm like, "You sure it's you?" He goes, "Yeah, it comes on again tonight." Because back then, Rap City come on in the morning time that we couldn't watch.
Right.
But it repeat on in the nighttime, and we could watch at the nighttime on Friday and Saturday. We get to stay up late, watch a movie, and then we watched Rap City. So I'm like, "You sure it's me?" He's like, "It's you." I'm like, "All right." I tell a couple people, I think my video's on. So when I go to lunch, I'm at lunch, and now the whole jail's in the cafeteria. "Yo, Snow, I heard your video on." I'm like, "Holy fuck." I hope it's not Marky Mark or something. Vanilla Ice, I'm dead, right? So I'm there. I'm like, I don't know. So then after the movie, everybody goes to bed. All the bikers, everybody, they usually go to bed after the movie and stuff. And all of us, whoever liked hip hop, and we'd stay up later and just, mess around. This time, the whole place is packed. They want to see this Snow video. Yeah. So I'm like, "Oh shit!" And I'm in jail with a guy I grew up with from Allenbury at this time. This is a different jail. So I'm with Dwayne Gross. So me and him are pacing back, by the cells here. We're pacing back, and I hear and I say, "Oh shit!" And I run, and it's like a circle, and all the seats are there, and the TV's up there. So I'm by the TV, and I'm in jail in the TV, and I'm in jail singing to everybody, all the bikers, everybody. Oh yeah, everybody dancing and stuff. So it was like boom, right away. I was like, "Oh, that's the first time I saw myself on video."
And your prison mates, they said it was a good song. What was the reviews like?
They love what? Yeah, especially back then. You if you did a CD or an album, you had to do you know what I mean. It's not like I can go in the basement and do a CD. Everybody got CDs out. Everybody got that. Right. So they were like, "What?" They believe me because they know my family in jail. They know a lot of my family, so they know I'm not a bullshitter and running around bullshitting, but. When they heard it, they liked it,
So I got lots of questions, as you can imagine. First of all, that story is amazing. That's like a definitive Toronto story. Do you think it adds to your integrity? Does it help your rep that you're in jail when that song airs on Much Music for the first time? Like that might help sell a few units or something, you think? Like it gives you a bit of like...
It's a great story, yeah. But
it's a great story.
I didn't need rep from that. I had my rep my whole life.
But it doesn't hurt, right?
Nah, it makes a good story. It's like, it's never happened before. Yeah. It's like some guy goes to jail, signs a record, and comes out. Usually people are like famous, then they go to jail. Right. You know what I mean? But I was not. I was like, and then I came out, limousine picked me up, and.
So is that like the day limo picks you up, and where's your first stop after you get out?
You don't want to know the first stop. The first stop, this was the first stop. I'm Snow now, right? The first time I heard my video, my song on the radio was in jail too. I had a little radio.
What station?
88.1.
CKLN.
Yeah, so I had my little radio, and I'd put the antenna to this pole, and Lonely Low, because my first single was Lonely Monday Morning, not Informer. It was Lonely Monday Morning on a white label, so they didn't know if I was black, white, nothing. They didn't know what I was. So they released that first, and that started coming up the charts, like on the underground, bubbling, like, and then they released the Informer. So now I get out, and... Remember, my friends are all still criminals, boosters, and whatever. I'm like, this is new to me. So this clothing company came. I love them. I'm sorry, brothers, but this clothing company came, and they're like, "Snow, we want you to come down and give you free clothes, right from my jail, right out. I get out of jail." They're like, "Come and on Yonge Street, come and pick up some free clothes." And I'm like, "Oh, I never had free clothes before. I had to fucking boost them before, right?" Right. So we go in there, me and three or four of my friends who are still with me to this day. And we go in there, and the guy brings me in the back. He's like, "Okay, I got you this shirt, yeah, these pants, this pant. Okay, I'm all right. I'm not." He gives me my bags. I go back into the limo. The limo's full of clothes. I'm like, "Brother, you can't be doing this," right? They're like, they took the whole store. I'm like, "Oh my God." I'm like, "You can't do this no more. I'm Snow now. I got to buy it now." Yeah, so I still talk to the guy. The
limo goes right back to the jail.
Yeah.
So here we go.
I'm coming out and I'm like, "Yo, you guys can't do this, man. You can't be boosting all this stuff." "Well, why'd you leave us in the store with nobody in the store? We're empty." And I'm like, "Yo," I'm like, "You can't do that." We're like, "All right."
That's called, what's that called? Entrapment.
Yeah, it's entrapment. So... And that's the first day I got out. And then, yeah.
So when you're laying down this track, you're in New York, I guess, MC Shan. Like, do you have any idea that this will be a hit? Like, are you thinking this is going to be a...
I like to boost stuff, eh? I used to like to boost everything, eh? So when I met MC Shan, Shan didn't have no money.
Yeah.
And I'm on charges for assault causing bodily harm in America. So Shan didn't have no money, right? Dog living poor, him didn't have that much money. He says this already in magazines, so I'm not like telling his business, right?
Right.
So me, I'm being a booster. I'm like, what? You guys got no food? He always says, you kids don't say that. They're going to come in. Right? So I'm like, you got no food? So I go to A&P.
Yeah, A&P, of course.
Yeah. I go to A&P and I'd steal roasts and steaks and burritos for the dogs and everybody. Everything. I'm feeding Shan. And Shan's like, holy shit, who's this guy? He comes down, he's feeding my family, singing music. So I would go to his corner store too, and I'd take all the chicken sandwiches. I love these little chicken sandwiches, eh? And I'd take all the chicken sandwiches, right? It's like a 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
And I go in there one day and I pack up full of chicken sandwiches. My coat's full of chicken, right? And the guy says, you? And I go, what? He goes, you take all the chicken sandwich. I go, what are you talking about? He goes, every time I fill up, you come in, all gone. I said, you're nuts. I said, I'm leaving. I got about 40 of them on me, right? I said, you're out of your mind, right? Now, I never went back to them. I never had a chicken sandwich again. And so that's how I was living. Shan was living like, a little rough. Hip hop back then was, wasn't making that much money and stuff. So Shan is like an angel. He just found me and he just taught me. He brought everything out of me. He would be like, okay, Snow, do a harmony. I was like, what? I'm like, what's a harmony? He's like, okay. Like, I didn't know. Like, I never know studio, nothing.
Right.
So he just like, and that was the first album. And then, like I told you, I signed
That
the
was
deal.
12 Inches of Snow.
Yeah, and then I went back to jail and got out the limousine, the store, and then I started to went back to New York and started going all around the world. And then, yeah, it was like number one. I remember when I was on the plane going to Germany, and I plugged in the phone to listen to the headphones, and it was my voice. It was an interview on the plane going to Germany, and it freaked me out because I heard my voice. When I plugged it in, I'm like, yeah, and I'm like, the hell? And I'm like, oh shit, that's me. I'm on an interview on the plane.
You know that you must know this, of course, but Informer is just the third song by a Canadian artist to top the Hot 100 for 7 or more weeks. Like it was number one for 7 weeks, Billboard Hot 100. Yeah. Only 2 Canadian artists had ever done that in the history of the Billboard chart. Okay, I'm glad you asked, actually, because I was going to see if you knew who it would be.
Bryan Adams.
Bryan Adams is number 2. So, yes.
But Bryan Adams had... Okay, yeah. Bryan... No.
Everything I do it for you.
Big song.
That was 7 weeks to number 1. So that's the second Canadian song to do it. You're number 3.
Because at the time you're saying I'm number 3.
At the time, because now that now it's
when we number 3, I'm number 1. I'm kidding.
You were Informer was number 1 for 7 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay, but the first Canadian artist to go to number 1.
Hold on, don't say it.
I don't think you're going to get this because I don't think you're going to get this. And anyone in the room who wants to yell it out, you get.
Okay, I'm going to say it's a girl. I'm going to say it's a girl.
It's not even. It's an instrumental. First of all,
I know, okay.
You're not going to get this.
No.
Percy Faith's "Theme from a Summer Place." Do you know this song? Well, I pulled it here. I thought, hey, let me hear it in case we know it. Let's hear. You could rap over this.
Informer, say that it's not me. I go blame. I know this song. Of course, you know this song.
Yeah,
that's a big song.
First Canadian artist to go number 1 for 7 or more weeks, and you're the third one to do it, which is fucking amazing. So, geez, so many places I can go here, but one is that it's worth noting that song comes out in '92, and the Blue Jays win their first World Series in 1992. Is that a coincidence?
I seen it in jail.
You watched the in '92? That was in Atlanta.
Wherever they won there, I was in jail. I was just getting out. Okay. Yeah, so I saw the first. And we knew a guy named Roach. His name was Roach, and we used to call him Kaka. Say, get up on there, Kaka. He'd get up and dance when the World Series. Yeah. So go.
Well, no, I'm going to... Later, I'm going to talk about basically the return. I call it the return of imposter. Maybe I'll do it now. So we'll jump around, and then I'll come back. But I'm going to play a song, 2019 Jam. You ready?
I haven't heard this one.
Esto lo seguimos en el after party. ¿Cómo te llamas, baby?
Good song.
It's great.
That's a good one.
So this is 2019, okay? What happens in 2019?
2019, they call me and they say, Snow, we want to do a remix. And I'm like, okay, let me hear it, you know? So when they send it to me and I heard it, I got chills. I was like, okay, this one, I like this one. 'Cause I don't care if Daddy Yankee, whatever, you know what I mean? Just, it has to be done right and proper.
So Daddy Yankee, this is Con Calma.
Yeah.
Part of my accent, okay.
Yeah, I
And-
said it wrong. I said it wrong in the song. I was singing it wrong. I'm not too good at English. Now they're telling me to do spam. I'm like, yo, man, come on.
Give it a little Spanglish there, okay. But this topped the charts. This version, 2019, with Daddy Yankee, Con Calma, that tops the charts in 20 countries. And it's in the top 10 for 10 more. Like, this was a big jam. But in 2019, the Toronto Raptors win the NBA, the Larry O.B. Okay, you're an O.B. You know the Larry O.B. The Toronto Raptors win the NBA championship. So, let's work with me here. Okay, so in 92, you put out Informer.
Yeah.
Blue Jays win their first World Series. In 2019, this song is a big hit for you. Again, you and Daddy Yankee. Raptors win their first NBA championship. 2025, Snow makes his Toronto Mike debut. Maple Leafs win their first Stanley Cup since '67. Paul's clapping over there. Right?
Yes, sir.
It's been prophesized.
Prophesized.
Frankie's agreeing with me here.
Couple songs
You got to
this
put
year.
something out. And now tonight's game 1. It's going to be tough. Defending Stanley Cup champions. They got Brad Marchand there. They're a good fucking team. But if we win game 1 tonight at home, I want I don't care if it's you rapping Informer over the theme from A Summer's Place, Percy Faith, okay? We can probably record that today in this basement. We put that out. Maple Leafs win their first Stanley Cup since '67.
I'm doing it. We're working on we worked on an EDM and we're working on a country style now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who would you be doing the country one with, you know?
We have a couple. Well, we're looking for names right now. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Someone like
Apply within.
Yeah, Jelly Roll. Someone will,
You know
someone.
what? That's a gift that keeps on giving. Okay?
Yeah, I'm like, if it's EDM, it's reggae, it's reggaeton, let's do a country. If I could get into it.
Well, of course, you got to have some passion in the belly
Yeah.
there, but sometimes your bank account wants you to get into it.
Yeah, well, country, I need a country hat. I need a cowboy hat.
Okay.
So-
Well, maybe Kid
Because
Rock.
Randy Travis one of his first albums, Amen. You know that album?
A little bit. This is the Mugs and Kisses, right? 92.5.
That album, that whole album, I know every song on that album. You could go to any song on that album, anywhere in the song.
Randy
and-
Travis.
Randy,
That's
any,
your jam.
Any song on that album, you can go anywhere and any song, and I'll know.
Okay. I'm similarly minded with Kenny Rogers because I was raised on Kenny. And there's the greatest hits that came out in like 82, the one with Lady on it.
Yeah.
Lionel Richie's Lady or whatever. And any song on that, I'm into it, man. Maybe, I don't know, we'll talk offline here, but I know some country artists. We can cook something up for the 2025 Stanley Cup run by our Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yeah. Because that's what that's where my mind is right now.
Okay, I got lots. I remember I text your buddy here, Paul, all the time. My ideas are flowing 24/7. I'm going to be pitching a lot of ideas to Paul. Yeah, you know, he's ever since he dated the first woman VJ on Much Music, he's been living the life.
Rick James babysat me. You know Rick James?
Yeah, of course I know
Yeah,
Rick James.
he used to come and he used to come to my house in Allenbury because he used to date my mother's friend.
He was a draft dodger. He was a Buffalo guy, I think.
He was Buffalo.
Yeah, that's how he ended up here. And he was with like Neil Young.
That's all your
Minor
guys
Bird.
talk.
Okay,
My
let's hear the real talk.
The real talk is he had more girls working in Toronto than any other place. Yeah, he had like 30 girls working for him in Toronto. So this was his spot. So my mother knew all the gangsters and stuff. So my mother's friend, a black lady, Elaine, used to date him. And Paul's giggling over here because Paul dated the same lady, Elaine.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
It's true.
Second biggest smile he's ever had.
Paul, yeah, this one here,
Play it.
like you can't go nowhere with him.
Hey, Paul, did you see that? I'm going to pass it while we chat. Did you see this? Somebody heard us talking about Tears Are Not Enough and sent me that.
I have a copy of that.
You have a copy of that, but I didn't get it from you. I had to get it from a listener.
Yeah.
Come on. You know, I just talked to Bill Henderson from Chilliwack
Yeah.
like minutes ago, and he tells me he was asked to play some guitar on Tears Are Not Enough, and he thought he was too big to just do that. He wanted like a solo, and he turned it down, and he didn't participate in the Tears Are Not Enough recording. Have you heard anything about that?
I don't remember.
This is what Bill's telling me. Okay, so
If he's telling you it's true.
okay, that mic's open too if you ever want to pop on there, because that's yours, Darren. Okay, Darren, what's your sense of humor level when it comes to your fame with Informer? Because I think that's a great song. You got a good sense of humor about it?
100%. Well, look at Jim Carrey. Look at all these people.
Okay, say it up. I got to make sure you're not going to punch me out and end up back in jail if I play this, but I got to play it, okay? Or my listeners will revolt. They'll be have pitchforks at Christy Pitts on Sunday. Okay, so I'm going to play this and we're going to talk about it.
They say you took something that belonged to them, and man, they gon' kick your white ass.
Imposter, I'm just a middle-class worker from Toronto. In spite of how I sound, single one platinum bigger than Marley and Jimmy and Yellow, but I'm not even mulatto. My reggae's watered down. Hear me on the radio, think I could not be blacker. But on my video, you see I'm really a cracker, pretending I was a rasta since I was in jammies. I should pay my face and start belting out Mary. You can criticize me all the way to the bank. My single #1 and Shabba don't rank. Time wanna kick Dicey off the label for this in the cops. They said it just ain't right. But when a Caucasian man records a cupping song, they don't have a problem. Must be an oversight. All the Jamaicans think I gave them a bum scare, but everything I know I learned from an auctioneer. The bidding will start at 7 for this here go gang. 8 do I hear 8, 9, who'll give me 10? I got 10 going once, going twice sold. I can spout gibberish and it'll go gold. I am what I am, and that's all that I am. A skitty button,
I wish I seen him record it. Like a video of him in the studio.
I'm
Like,
rapping your songs with the best of my ability. You need a black man to increase your credibility. When put on the spot, I side with the rosters, cause Sean ain't down with no imposter.
Imposter, like Vanilla Ice, the people are sick of me. They put my boom boom down in 4 months. My brother'll be back in Canada working a day job with a burger crown. Would you like fries with that? A hot apple pie with that?
Just drive around, ma. Blue top. Cool running. Ah! Hey, man. You wouldn't hit a man with glasses, would you, man? I'm warning you, man. I shot the sheriff. Exodus. Oh, now.
Snow, I need your reaction. You're hearing that. I know you heard it at the time, but what did you think at the time of Jim Carrey? This was from In Living Color, of course. And what do you think now?
I thought, well, I had to give permission to,
Oh,
right? He had to ask permission to do it. So I heard it first and gave him permission. So I thought it was funny. It was perfect. Imposter and, it was like perfect. So I thought it was funny and it was perfect. But he loved it so much. He loved it that,
Jim Carrey.
oh, it was his favorite because he came and did a movie called Man on the Moon. What's
Man on the Moon.
Man on the Moon.
Yeah,
Remember he did
Courtney
that?
Love is in that.
Yeah, he did that movie. But then he did, remember the guy's wife had all that film, and then they did, what was the movie called after they did the...
Oh, I think,
The
I think I know. There's a movie made about him making it.
Yeah, all behind the scenes
Right.
and all that. Yeah, that
Right.
movie. So
He got really into character. Like
Yeah,
he
he-
became
yeah, so
what's his name? From
his-
Taxi there.
whatever the guy's name is, the taxi guy.
Andy
Yeah.
Kaufman.
Yeah, him. His wife had all like hundreds and thousands of hours of all the videos. So they made the movie. So he called me back again. Well, called the record company. He was like, "Can we use the song in that movie?" And I was like, "Yeah, you can use it in that movie." So then he used it again in the movie. And then he called back again. He's like, "Can we use it at the end too for the credits coming up?" I'm like, "Yeah, you can do that too." He's like, "All right." So, and plus he's from here too, right?
But that's where I was going. Is you're a Toronto guy. He's
Yeah.
a Toronto guy.
Almost in my neighborhood. Mike Myers grew up in my neighborhood, right? Mike Myers grew up right in my neighborhood. Like a lot of people went to my school, my high school. Like Rush went to my school.
Okay.
Howie Mandel went to my school. Like a whole bunch of them.
Can I ask you about a guy on my most recent guest on this podcast was Friday, a guy from Broken Social Scene, Brendan Canning. And I mentioned that you're the next guest, and he says he knew you in high school.
Oh,
You have
yeah?
any memory of Brendan Canning from Broken Social Scene?
What school?
I asked him, and I can't remember what he said.
Vanier,
What school
Woodbine?
did you go to? Vanier, I think.
Vanier,
Yeah.
yeah. I did 3 years, basic 9.
Okay.
Yeah, I got 1 credit. And the science
It took
teacher
Paul
gave,
5 years.
he right 1 credit he gave me, and I was shocked. I was like, you gave me a credit? That was my science teacher, Mr. Thrust. Yeah, he was nice. And I got one jail and 1 credit in jail, so I got 2 credits. So yeah, he knows me from there.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. So okay, very cool.
I was known in the area like way before I was Snow. I was like, really known.
Were you known as a musician?
No, just fighting.
Just watch your shit around this guy. He's
Yeah.
gonna steal it.
No, I wouldn't steal from people.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I would never steal from people.
Man's got to have a code.
Yeah, there's codes. There's no breaking into people's houses and stealing purses and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? I'll go to the Bay and I'll go to the mall
Yeah.
and all day long and take everything,
The
'cause-
Bay. Shout out to Ridley Funeral Home. We can buy the Bay.
Yeah, the
Pass
Bay's-
it. We can buy the Bay.
Yeah, the Bay's done now.
It's done now,
I think
man.
I'm kicked out of every Bay in the world. I was kicked out of every Bay in the world. Oh, yeah.
The Hudson Bay. They got a big picture of snow in the
yeah.
lobby. Don't let this guy in.
Yeah, I'm kicked out of every Bay. Trust me, I used to go in that store with wigs on. They didn't know who I was. I had long hair, wigs. I did everything.
I got a question from Al Grego.
Al Grego.
Al Grego, a good musician too. He's got a great beard. I'm jealous of his beard actually. But Al Grego actually works for Moneris, and they sent over this wireless speaker for you, Snow. And they're kindly asking that you subscribe and listen to season 8 of Yes We Are Open, which is an award-winning podcast from Moneris, hosted by Al Grego.
100%.
He went to Regina. You ever you gone on tour to Regina, Saskatchewan?
Oh, yeah. I've been out there. Yeah, a lot. I've been a lot of all Canada. Thunder Bay. I put the Thunder in the Bay a couple times. Yeah.
All right. So what did Al write me? He said, "Hey, Mike, when you have Snow on, ask him what he thinks of this corn style corn. That's one syllable.
That's. I was going to tell you that earlier when I was talking about how Informer was hip hop reggae, right? Started with, then it went to reggaeton, and then we're doing an EDM version. Right. And that one there. That.
Well, you want to hear it?
No. Yeah, you can play it,
Okay.
but people have been sending it to me.
Yeah, because Al heard it, and he's like, he wants to get your reaction to it. So I'll play it. Yeah, you'll hear it in the headphones right now, and now you can react to it. This is thanks for sending this, Al Grego.
If Korn wrote Informer by Snow, you guys are diabolical, dude.
It's like corn.
Police today come and blow down me door. One man crawled through my window, so they put me in the back of the car at the station. From that point I reached my destination. Well, the destination reached up east to Denver. When they looked up, I mentioned I'm not bottom.
All right, we get the idea here. This is corn style, but
Yeah.
Frankie's telling me that there's a like a cult following where they just make Informer in all the different genres, all the different styles.
Yeah. So it's my turn now.
Yeah.
It's my turn.
Well,
to do it.
2019 was 6 years ago.
Yeah, that was Conkarma reggaeton. So now
Right.
we got a EDM version coming soon, and then we got we're working on. But I want to do a rock one like that. You know.
Well, okay, this is a great segue, man. You want to be a co-host for this podcast? Because you're setting me up here. So I got a note from Elephants and Stars. That's a great band. And they want Elephants and Stars. Manfred is the guy's name. He wants me to ask you about your band with Greg Norrie.
Oh yeah, I had a band with Greg Norrie.
And that.
Yeah, that we were called Icons. We did an album in Japan. Me, Greg Norrie, MC Shan, and so yeah, there was a whole bunch. So that's when 741 they did. Were they recording in my house? They would do some recording in my house, in my studio. I had a studio house.
That's a big fucking band, Sum 41.
Yeah, this before they blew up. They would come to the house, and you know. So I did. Yeah, we did a lot of songs with Greg Norrie and stuff.
Okay, there's a Today I Learned I saw online of Into Deep, which was a big hit for Sum 41, that it was originally supposed to be a reggae song by Treble Charger featuring Snow True or false?
True.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, Paul didn't know that one. I'm telling you, we're digging deep here.
Yeah,
Okay,
man.
so because
Yeah.
In Too Deep, well, they just at the Junos, they just did their farewell show, Sum 41.
Oh, okay.
They called it quits. I watched it on the television. But the fact that In Too Deep was going to be Treble Charger featuring Snow before it became a Sum 41, and then there's a lot of, we won't get into the controversy, but Greg Norrie and Derek Whibley from Sum 41, let's just say there's some big controversy there.
got their
You have any
problems.
insight into that?
I have no insight, but I heard a little something. But
Well, he went in his book.
I'm no informer, so I don't know nothing about nothing.
See, I was testing you.
Yeah.
Will Snow play Informer?
Yeah, no,
not saying shit.
no. I don't know nothing about nothing.
So why wasn't it a Treble Charger song featuring Snow, In Too Deep?
I don't know, because when we did it, and then I heard Sum 41 do it over,
Yeah?
and then that was like their song. So
Big hit.
it
That
was-
and Fat Lip were the big early hits.
Yeah, so I don't know. It just went with them. You know what I mean? Because especially Greg Norrie was managing them, and you know what I mean. So and they were coming out, and they, you know, so it was a good thing they did it. You know what I mean? Because it was good for them.
Absolutely. Now, okay, so I have a true or false question for you from Brian Dunn. Hello to Brian Dunn. Brian, I hope to see you at TMLX. That's the Toronto Mike Listener Experience 18 at Christie Pitts on Sunday, and again at TMLX 19 on June 26th at Great Lakes Brewery. Be there. Brian wants to know, because he's the biggest Bare Naked Ladies fan on the planet. Are you Stephen Page's cousin?
Yeah, that's my cousin.
See, Paul didn't know
No, I
that?
did know
Oh, he
that.
did know that.
I
Okay,
did
the
know
mic's
that.
open if you want
Only
to.
recently I just found that out.
Oh, you just found it out.
On my mom's side. Yeah, he's on my mom's side. And the funniest thing is, because my dad, he hates that band more than anybody in the world. He hates that band, right? And they kind of wrote that song because of Informer.
Yeah,
right?
well, you know, this came in from Mark Weisblot from 1236 fame, and he says, 1 week
Yeah.
is like the second Canadian rap song to go number one on the Billboard Hot 100.
Well, they got it from my style. That's why they said, they took that style from the Snowman, right? So when I saw him, he's the one who told me. So I'm not. It's
Steven
not,
told you that.
Yeah, it's not
Okay.
me saying, because it has nothing
China,
to do.
The Chinese chicken, you grab a drumstick. And
It's no slang, not the same melody, nothing, but
Yeah.
it's the same kind of that flowish. So he told me, he was like, "Yo, we wrote that song because of Informer." And I was like, "You prick!" I said, "Write me one." I said, "Write me another one."
Yeah. Well, they didn't get 7 weeks on top. They got 1 week.
1 week.
It's been 1 week.
Yeah, they should have changed the lyrics to "It's been
It's
8
been
weeks,
8 weeks.
on the Billboard charts." Sorry.
So you're first cousins? Or no?
Second,
or is that,
I think it's second.
okay.
Yeah, second.
So are you
yeah.
related at all?
But I
Because-
I'd never seen. He never come to my, because he was like, my family's gangsters, so he didn't come
Oh,
around.
he was told to stay away from those
Yeah,
O'Briens.
yeah, they're
That's
like,
his, like, his mom said, stay away from those
Yeah,
O'Briens.
if you haven't done 2 years more, you get out.
It's funny because Stephen Page's dad put out their yellow tape, the big yellow tape that made Bare Naked, the big indie yellow tape that was really popular and famous for Bare Naked Ladies. And he also put out Shakespeare My Butt by Lowest of the Low. Do you know Lowest of the Low?
No.
Okay, so yeah, in 91 or so, they put out Shakespeare My Butt. And I'm just here to shout out Lowest of the Low because I was at
That's
the
a
show.
band?
That's a band.
If
and
I hear their music, like I'm more
Okay.
of a music.
All right. Well,
hearing it.
I do close this. I'll close this podcast with a cover of one of their songs, "Rosie and Gray" from Shakespeare My Butt by Rob Proust from Spoons. But I just want to shout out. They're coming on the show in a couple of weeks. Lois of the Low, Ron Hawkins, and Lawrence Nichols. And I saw them at the concert hall on, I think it was Saturday night. And I was just glad there was no Game 7 because I was going to bail on this concert if there was a Leaf Game 7. And they wrapped it up in 6, and I got to enjoy a fantastic show at the concert hall at the Masonic Temple there.
Exactly how I am. Got to get home to that Leaf game. I don't care what it is.
Yeah, well, you want to watch it with me tonight? We're gonna have a good time. I got you don't drink the beer. I got the beer here. Okay, so question here too. So thank you for the Stephen Page. There's another guest of Toronto Mike who says he's a cousin of Stephen Page, and I'm wondering if you're at all related to him. He covers sports for the Toronto Sun. Steve Simmons.
Yeah.
Does this name mean anything to you? Maybe he's related to Stephen Page through a different artery in the family tree, a different branch or whatever.
Yeah.
Do you know Steve Simmons? No.
No, I know Gene Simmons.
Yeah. Well, he's funny. Gene Simmons is dear friends with the owner of Toronto Maple Leafs baseball team, and he's the guy I'm going to call. Keith, I'm going to call him after this, and we're going to get you to throw out the ceremonial first pitch.
Aye. Gene Simmons.
Would you do it? You'd go to Christie Pitts at 1:30 on Sunday?
We're going to talk about it. Yeah, I would love to, though. Throw that. Yeah,
You going to throw heater, though?
Let's
You know who
try.
the manager of these? You know who the manager is? It's Rob Butler, who won the World Series with the '93 Blue Jays.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
See?
Jeez. Okay. All right, man. And one more question that came in from Mark Weisblatt from 1236 here. He says, "Where's the audio of your version of the Be Nice, Clear Your Ice that Ben Wicks used to do?" He said, in 2022, you wrote City of Toronto Snow Song. No record of this online. What's going on with that?
What one was that?
Did you record something for Clear and Snow in 2022?
yeah,
Frankie
yeah.
knows.
Oh, yeah. He's the one who set it up.
Okay, you got,
He's like,
audio,
"You
you
wanna
got an
clear-
audio of this? You can send me an MP3 or something? Or has it
Actually,
been
you've-
has it been buried? Frankie's thinking. Oh yeah, get in front of that thing. Yeah.
I'm not sure. I think we gave it to the city, so they have the final audio.
Because they don't have it online anywhere.
I have an edit.
He has an edit of it.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
Come on, we got to share the love here. Okay, we're gonna share the love here. Before I ask the next question, I'm going to shout out a great podcast from Nick Iones called Building Toronto Skyline, and Nick Iones stepped up to help fuel this real talk. Thank you, Nick. We had a recent episode with a guy who was on top of the CN Tower 50 years ago building it. He's an iron worker. CN Tower is 50 years old.
Wow.
Happy birthday, CN Tower.
Yeah.
There you go.
My friend MC Shan, when Shan used to come to Canada, all he would ask people, he'd go through the drive-in, and he'd be like, what's the tallest freestanding structure in the world? Remember? Because that was the trial. Everybody would say that. The CN Tower is the tallest freestanding structure in the world. Right? So he'd say, because I'd tell him that, right?
Right.
I remember, I got a joke, a Texan guy, right? This Texas guy, and he comes to Toronto. And in Texas, they build everything faster. They think they build everything faster and stronger and everything, right? So they're driving in the cab, and the Texas guy's in the back of the cab, and the Texas guy says, what's that there? And he says, that's a C&E. He says, how long did it take you to build that? He said, that there, they took it about, I don't know, a year. He said, in Texas, we would have built that in 6 months. So the cab driver keeps driving, and he looks, and he says, what's that there? He says, that's Maple Leaf Gardens. He said, how long did it take you to build that? He said, that's 4 years. He said, in Texas, it'd take us 8 months. Cab driver puts on the guy. Now he's getting a little madder, eh? Like this, right? He's driving. The cab driver, the Texas guy says, what's that there? And the cab driver says, it's the CN Tower. He said, how long did it take you to build that? He says, I don't know. I wasn't there yesterday.
I'm gonna
That's my CN Tower.
pull
50.
that clip for Nick Iones, man. He's gonna love that. That's fantastic. Okay, I got a mind blow here for the listenership. That's a warning. This is a mind blow. But first, no, what neighborhood do you call home right now?
Allenberry Gardens.
Okay.
No, Toronto.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
but-
downtown.
Downtown, okay,
Yeah.
downtown. Do you have like a drawer or a closet full of old cables, old electronics, old devices that don't work anymore? Maybe you got these old cables from the 90s that are obsolete now? No, you've cleaned out that shit. Okay. For
That's
everyone,
MC Shan. Shan has everything. Shan, like you go to his house, he has the first cable. He has the first mic we ever did in gold plated. And
Wow.
yeah, he has a lot of that stuff.
well, tell MC Shan to bring the obsolete old cables and stuff. Bring it to you, because if you go to recyclemyelectronics.ca and you put in your postal code, you'll find out where you can drop it off to be properly recycled, so those chemicals don't end up at our landfill. This is what we're gonna do. All right, here, I need a story on this. I'm going to play another piece of audio, okay? And
Everybody
you're gonna,
wants to be like you.
No, I do have that loaded up. That's coming. But first, we're going to do this. You ready?
Yeah.
Bring your love to me tonight. Gather to East Lake underneath your silvery light. We're going bowling, so down a loser in Solin. Moon over Palma, so all night. Watch the girl, she stand up on the corner. Watch out the moon that Mr. Shine over the Palma. Moonlight, yo,
That's for the Drew Carey Show.
Drew Carey Show. I did the song, the intro song.
Moon over Parma.
Yeah, that was fun. That was a fun one.
So is Drew? I mean, it's funny. We just talked about Jim Carrey, but Drew Carey, was he just a big Snow fan, and he wanted you to record that for a season of his show?
Yeah, they reached out and they're like, "Yo, he's a fan. He wants to do it." And I was like, "All right."
Did you like the Drew Carey Show, or you just thought it'd be fun to do it? Did you watch that show?
No.
Okay.
I don't really watch too many. Like we just Family Guy. right?
The cartoon, yeah.
Yeah, they're doing an episode, something on me, a little something. Not me as a character, just, using the music or whatever. And they're like, Family Guy, and I was like, what's Family Guy? Like, I don't.
Oh, okay, so
I know what Family Guy is.
You don't watch any TV?
No, I don't watch no
Not
cartoons.
even The Simpsons?
No Simpsons, no, none of
You've
that.
never seen The Wire?
Never seen
You'd love The Wire.
No, I live The Wire.
Actually, there's a character in The Wire called White Mike. He's in season 2. Shout out to White Mike.
Big up White Mike. But yeah, mostly just boxing and hockey. That's all I really watch.
You watch hockey in boxing, okay?
Yeah.
When you listen to music,
Domi's a friend of mine.
if you if you go to the washroom, ready for the two pictures on the walls with autographs on the walls are Doug Gilmour, your buddy,
Yeah.
and Ty Domi. Isn't that weird?
Both my friends.
Like your two buddies are in my bathroom over there. So before you leave, you get to take
He
a
saw
piss in
Domi
there.
at the game a couple weeks ago. He saw him and he went up to me. He's like, I'm friends with Snow. He's like, what? Yeah.
Speaking of friends, well, because his son Max has had that big OT winner too.
Big up Max.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw you. This is a fun story. Shout out to Ian Service if you're listening. I hope you are. But Ian and I went to see. I'm dear friends with a director named Stu Stone. Stu Stone made a movie called Vandits with his brother-in-law Adam. He made a movie called Vandits. So I'm at the premiere of Vandits to support my buddy Stu, and you're there, man. You're like wearing this rad jacket, and you're kind of. Did you have a dog with you? Did you bring a dog? How'd you get a dog into the movie theater?
In the movie.
Were you there?
Yeah.
So one of our
artists. He's one of the main guys in the movie.
Okay, they made that movie in Winnipeg. And it's funny, it had, Jan Arden's in that movie, for goodness sakes. But, so I was going to ask you how you ended up at the Vandits premiere.
It's because of Espresso. He's an artist that we work with. So he was...
See, I thought it might be the guy from Trailer Park Boys, but no, okay.
Yeah.
Francesco.
Okay.
Yeah, Trailer Park Boys.
Because there was a guy from Trailer Park Boys in that movie, too. But so Ian and I are we're leaving our seats, and I go, hey, look, there's Snow. And he goes, go up and say hi, invite him on your show. I was too I'm like, nah, I can't just come out of the blue and approach Darren O'Brien from Informer. I can't do that. I have to play the long game. I got to get Paul Farberman over, talk about Catherine McClenahan, make them all happy, and then say, hey, man, deliver me the snowman.
And he says, I got to deliver you.
And he promised me snowman delivery. And then at some point, I guess he called me from lunch with you. You were having lunch with him?
We're at O'Brien's.
Do you own O'Brien's?
I should. Right? The owner is Pat Quinn, but not that Pat Quinn.
Okay, well, he's passed away again, but great Leaf coach.
But not
Pat
him.
Quinn. Not him.
There's another Pat Quinn.
That's a real Irish name. But Darren O'Brien's pretty Irish.
The Irish, yeah.
Yeah.
It's the main Irish.
Don't fuck with the Irish. Listen, my people are from Ireland too, man. But okay, so then you got on the phone. I had a little chat with you on the phone, and you said you'd love to come on, and then I'm like, this Paul guy's delivering. Unbelievable.
Yeah. When Paul says something to me, I say, all right.
Well, it's happening now. So, okay, I am going to play. I'm not just going to do Informer. I'm just going to play one more song, and then we're going to talk about... It's funny, I wanted to focus on Informer. Maybe we can dive deep in other areas next visit. But now is your chance. We're going to talk about what's going on post-Informer, but we're going to start with this ditty.
This is the closest country song I kind of did. See, this is because of what do you call it? Sum 41, Greg Norrie.
Yeah.
Because at the same time I was there in my studio, so they had all their guitars. So we had all these guitars, and we were just on a different,
This is a great single, man. It's a great song.
Yeah, I like this one.
She inherited the drama. It was passed down from her mama. And her daddy, he would only drink wine. Only if she came around. But she's slowly going down. Girl, come on, check the phone. She's all learned up and she's not alone. But everybody wants to be like you. When it all boils down and all is there, you turn around and you got no friends. But everybody wants to be like you.
Okay, give me this. Just give me some background detail on how this song comes to be, how it came together.
This one here is, I'm in grade 2, right? And I'm 6 years old. And I go to the Kiss concert by myself, me and my brother. My brother's 9 and I'm 6. We go to the first Kiss by ourselves. We go to the Kiss concert. 1976, Varsity Stadium. Me and my brother go. My mother drops us off. We go. My nails are painted, everything black. You know, I'm 6, my brother's 9. I remember being at the concert and seeing all the people dressed up as Kiss, and I'd be like, Sean, there's Peter. You know what I mean? He's like, that's not them. It's not them, right? And so the next day, or a couple of days later, I got the pictures. We had to develop the pictures, right? So I brought the pictures to school.
Yeah.
And I stood up in front of the class, and I said, I went to this Kiss concert. Rah, rah, rah. And this boy in my class, Robbie, he says, come up to me, he's like, what's Kiss? And I was like, it's a rock band. You never heard of it? He's like, no. I go, where do you live? He goes, Allenbury. I go, I live in Allenbury. I go, you want some craft dinner? He's like, yeah. I said, come to my house, and I'll play you some Kiss. So that was in grade 2, right? So what happened was Robbie Patterson, his name is, he's a year older than me, right? But he failed grade 2 and then ended up in my class. So then I introduced him to Kiss. He fell in love with Kiss. Then I failed grade 2 and he went on. So when we were 10, we started a band called Excalibur. And they went on to win homegrown Q107 band of the year, homegrown Q. Yeah.
Sure, I know the homegrown contest. Sure.
Yeah, they won Lazy Ace. They changed their name after. So when we were 10, we started a band called Excalibur because we all had roller skates on, and they were Dominion Precision roller skates. But my friend Murray Calvin, he had the Excalibur, some cheap old ones. So we were like, yo, let's name our band Excalibur. So that we started in grade 10. I mean, when we were 10 years old. So fast forward all these years, that's who wrote the song with me. Me and Robbie Patterson wrote that song. So we've been together since we were grade 2, and we wrote the song.
Well, a couple of mind blows. It's all coming back to Gene Simmons, first of all. But by the way, Simmons, fake name.
Good.
Confirmed it. It's fake name, okay? Don't believe the hype.
No, it doesn't sound like a real Jewish name. It's probably Egg Simmons or something.
It's something else, okay? And you know, the Ramones weren't Ramones either. I'm here to tell you the truth about all this stuff. Paul knows. He's in the business. Okay. But, okay. And you mentioned Kraft Dinner with your buddy, right?
Yeah.
There was a commercial aired like crazy in the early 80s where I love my Kraft Dinner with, and then the hook at the end was, my dad. This cute kid goes, my dad. It was this amazing Kraft Dinner commercial. You might remember it. You might have seen it.
Yeah.
Okay. That kid was Stu Stone, who directed Bandits.
Oh, my God.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I know Steve.
Frankie's brains are on the wall right now. That's a fun fact, right?
That's a fun fact.
Okay, Jane Siberry, eat your heart out over there. Okay. Snow, I heard somewhere about a Psycho tour for YTV, which had like B44. Remember B44?
Uh-huh.
And were you on this tour?
Yeah.
Do you have any memory of the Psycho tour for YTV?
Yeah. When we toured, we did all Canada. And then our last show was at the Hershey's somewhere over there by Mississauga.
Yeah, Hershey Center. Yeah, Hershey. Yeah,
Yeah,
Hershey.
we performed there, and that what did you just say? B44.
B44.
They were there, and I scared them. Because I had a lot of Hells Angels come to the show for 8 in Toronto, so I had a lot of them go up to them and they're like crying almost, right? So I scared them at that show, right? But no, they were good guys. Yeah, it was a great fun tour, fun little tour. I remember because I was older than all of them. Right. So while I was on tour, I'd be on stage, and this one little kid, she was, about 8, 9, 10 years old. She had a big sign, and it says, "My mother thinks you're hot." she had this big sign. "My mother thinks you're hot." I was like, "Oh."
His name was Chaim Witz. This is Gene Simmons I've gone back to here. Chaim Witz, W-I-T-Z. And here's another fun fact coming in on the live stream, live.torontomike.com. The dad of Before 4 was a synagogue cantor. Okay, so there you go. Now you know the rest of the story.
They were Jewish, weren't they?
Sure. I mean, if you're a synagogue cantor, you better be Jewish, right?
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I say because a lot of them call me Jewish, right? O'Brien Steen.
Gene Simmons.
My daughter's Jewish.
Yeah, Gene Simmons is Jewish. Sure.
My daughter's Jewish.
is that right? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I met Gene once. He had in Informer on his what is it?
Playlist or something.
Answering machine.
Answer machine. He had Informer. Gene Simmons, big snowhead.
Yeah, he used to call me all the time on my phone.
He married a Canadian.
Yeah.
Yeah, Playboy model, as
Yeah.
I recall. Not that I know much about all those Playboys in the early 80s, but yeah, absolutely. Playboy model back
Mom
then.
said, Darren, Gene's on the phone. He told me, he says, first thing he said, don't worry about people saying, oh, you're doing black music, you're doing this, you're doing that. He said, we used to have to go through that too with Alice Cooper, with the makeup, because Alice Cooper used to say that they copied Alice Cooper with the makeup.
Right.
So Gene used to tell me that.
Love Alice Cooper. All right, here's how we're closing, my friend. It's a tough time for this country now that we're buddies.
You keep looking
here.
over there at Maestro Fresh West. I think you got something to say about that guy over there. Look at him.
What's your relationship like with the Maestro?
I love Maestro.
Because
He's
he now not in America, but in Canada, he's got the first rap hit. I think that Let Your Backbone Slide is the first rap hit in this country.
That could probably be, but Missy Me.
Yeah, well, we heard her off the top because she's the first Canadian hip hop artist to get a U.S. record deal.
Yeah, she's a dear friend of mine.
Okay.
Yeah, dear friend of mine. Maisha's a dear friend of mine. Yeah, I
the
respect.
community's
Yeah,
close.
because I respect them. Cause
Do you have a relationship with Drake?
Drake, no,
No relationship.
no,
Okay.
I don't want one.
You don't want one now because your
He called.
style.
Remember, he had to ask me permission to do that song too. Remember, he opened the Junos, singing Informer.
Right, I forgot about that.
Yeah, he was playing the piano and he was.
But you
singing
gave him
Informer.
permission.
Yeah.
Okay.
I said, as long as he ain't, dissing or anything, you know what I mean? So, but big up Drake, big up, for
Well,
Canada.
Drake has he has the rap and the singing.
I started that.
That's where I'm going.
Yeah.
You're the first guy I can think of who would rap and sing.
Yeah. Because you weren't supposed to do that.
Right.
Because
Pick a lane, right?
Yeah, pick a lane. Yeah. So it was like, if you had to rap, you had to get Jodeci to do the singing R&B. So when I met MC Shan, I'm like, there's no rules. I wanted to sing. I wanted to do this. I wanted to rap. I wanted to just.
Because you're a good singer.
Yeah.
And you've got the flow.
Yeah.
Obviously.
So it's like I wanted to do it all. I didn't want to do, I just wanted to do whatever, and that's what happened. I was scratching on that record with my mouth. I was DJing reggae, singing hip hop. I was rapping, everything on the first album.
Do you think Drake was influenced by your success? Toronto boy hitting #1 for 14 weeks with a
Everybody.
singing and a rapping?
Everybody.
I love the swagger.
Yeah, everybody. They have to be.
Everybody wants to be like you,
They
right?
have to. They don't want to be like me, but they respect the fact. They have to respect the fact. Especially, because I'm the realest one from here. There ain't no more realer than me.
And you're still here.
And I'm still here. And I'm the realest. I grew up street, like Yellow Lines on Concrete, like real street. You know what I mean? And you don't got to grow up to be street to do hip hop. I'm not saying, you got to go to jail, because if you go to jail, that's, you're ruining your career. You know what I mean? So, but it's, there's a lot of talent here. Like especially rock and roll, classic rock. Like I hear songs, I'm like, holy, I didn't even know that was Canadian. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, holy, these Canadian, that's, we got some classic rockers here. Like my favorite is Max Webster.
Yeah, Kim Mitchell, sure.
Yeah, that was my favorite. Blockheads, that album, Blockheads album was crazy. So I'm like when you go to my car, I'm Q107. Yeah. Which I don't really respect them because they never play my music, which they shouldn't, because
they do not play Informer.
No, but they play Bob. They play Bob Marley. That's how you know Bob Marley is like, of course. Every radio station, Q107, all of them, they all play Bob Marley.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the boomification of Q. Like Boom came out, they would play Bob Marley, and I think Q changed their playlist to bring in some more of that Boom stuff because Boom did so well on the ratings.
Yeah, Boom is more, but
Boom would play Informer, right?
Oh yeah. We did an interview with them last year or something. Boom, yeah. But I like Boom. I like but Q107. That's my every time
classic rock.
That's when I get in his car, he has it on that station every time.
I just talked to the guy from Chilliwack. They're on their farewell tour. They're at Massey Hall on May 22. But Q's playing a lot of Chilliwack.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Yeah.
All right, so let me ask you this, Snow. I'm going to call you Snow because I know Darren's. I don't know any of the Snows.
Yeah,
it's exciting to me. Okay. I'll speak for myself. So you chose to stay in Canada. Like, I'm assuming when you have a #1 hit for 14, you could be living in LA or New York or something, but you wanted to stay here. Is that correct?
Always. But they kicked me out of America.
Well, see, that I don't know. Okay,
Yeah,
so is that because
93.
of the criminal record?
Yeah, 94, they threw me out for life. And then Japan threw me out for life. So everybody started, even Toronto threw me out. Like from Eglinton to Lakeshore to Sherburne to Dufferin or something. They kicked me out of that whole for 2 years.
You can do that?
They did it. Yeah, the judge kicked me out of the whole downtown Toronto. So I had to be in Durham, right?
I feel like I don't know if there's okay.
Brother, I get kicked out of more places. In Fairview Mall,
Yeah.
they kicked me out of I told you, every
every
bay.
bay in the country.
But the mall, they kicked me out of the bottom half first. Because I'd like everything in the bottom half, right? They kicked me out of the bottom half first, right?
But you haven't been doing that since Informer broke.
No, I don't get into no trouble. No, I'm positive. No drinking. You know what I mean? I'm on. I don't really like all that.
Okay,
but I don't. I'd like to talk. Like we were. The funniest thing is because I did like a year and a half in the East Detention, waiting to go to court.
Yeah.
So about a couple months ago, they contacted us and they were like, "Can Snow come and talk to the people in the East Detention?" I was like, "What? I would love to go talk to the people in the East Detention." So, I don't know. I just like whatever positive, for the kids and stuff. So.
But are you a proud Canadian?
Right now?
Right now.
Half and half.
Okay, no pressure here. I'm just curious because right now there's an American president who's making comments about making us the 51st state.
Yeah.
And I'm curious what my friend FOTM Snow thinks about that.
No, Canada's Canada. You know what I mean? This is our, but we got to smarten up here. I'm not worried about what's going on in America or who's running America. We got to care about who's running here and fix our place first and do right for our stuff. So I got a couple big people that should be running for mayor and stuff. You Prime Minister.
You mentioned Mike Myers because he went to your school. Is that right? Did Mike Myers go, or is he from your neighborhood? Or?
No, he right from my neighborhood.
Okay.
Yeah, not from Allenbury, not the project, but right across the street, in the building right there, right across from Woodbine and Vanier. I'm not sure if he went to Vanier. Rush went to Vanier.
Okay.
Alex Lyson and Geddy Lee went there.
Right.
Howie Mandel.
Oh, geez. Because Mike Myers did some ads with Mark Carney, right? He did some like elbows up, put Canada first.
Yeah.
Again, not trying to get you in trouble, just curious
I would slap
how
him.
you felt there.
I probably would have slapped him. Slap Mike Myers.
He'll be back in the detention center.
I don't care. I take a beef. I take it. 'Cause he run over here, and I don't like that Carney guy. I don't care. I don't like him. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't like what he came over. And then he run back to America. Elbows up and run back to America. When I grab him, I'm going to slap him in the... What? Now you're making me mad. I'm going to get off this topic.
Okay, so we're almost done. By the way, I really appreciate this.
I just love Canada. I've been 6 generations here. We came over from Ireland over to Nova Scotia and over to Toronto. So we've been, so I just see a lot of it going downhill and, so we got to fix it up. We're going to fix it up. Because it's a beautiful country. It's beautiful people. This is the most talented. Look at that. We got the top rapper, Drake. We got the top singer, Weeknd. We got Justin Bieber. We got some beautiful talent.
Snow.
We got Snow, but we got beautiful talent over here. And Celine. So we got
Shania.
We
can play this game. I got tickets for Neil Young.
No, we don't like Neil Young.
How come?
Oh, not Neil Young.
Bachman Turner Overdrive. We got
BTO. I love BTO.
We got Triumph.
What did you say the last one? Who I said no? Who was it? Triumph. I love.
Neil Young.
Neil Young.
Rush? Did you say Rush?
Yeah, well, Rush. We talked about Rush all day. Start paying attention, Paul.
I was up for Best Album of the Year, 1993, Juno Awards. He was up too for the Best Album. He beat me. So a lot of
that Harvest Moon?
But probably what album that it was.
So it's personal.
Not to me, but to my friends like Jamie and them. Oh, I want to beat him. Oh, I don't like him at all. I love his music. You know what I mean? I'm like, yo, you can't.
All right. Okay. Okay, amazing. I know he's been very vocal with Bernie Sanders going to protest against Trump. What do you think of his staunch anti-Trump stance?
Who?
Neil Young.
He's Canadian?
He's Canadian. But he's been living in the States a long time.
He got no say for nothing. He should just keep it with his guitar and talk about his guitar. That's all.
All right, you got a soft spot for Donald J. Trump? Again, no judgments here, man. No judgments here.
I like whoever's stopping the war and whoever's doing the peace. If it's Trump, if it's this, if it's that, if it's whoever it is, you know what I mean? And I see it's running pretty good. So I just want to, we just need to fix here.
You know, if we become the 51st state, which, by the way, it's over my dead body, man, I'll pick up arms, okay? I'll go to war. I don't care.
You need one of my dogs.
You know what?
I'll be right beside you.
Paul and I are going to be fighting. You're going to. Do you have our back?
No. No. Yeah, until your nose bleeds. I got your back till your nose bleeds. you ever hear that one? That's what they say in jail.
But
don't worry, I got your back till your nose bleeds.
Here's the thing, though. If Canada becomes the 51st state over my dead body,
then I don't need a waiver, and I'm allowed in.
Well, it might be the opposite.
I'm allowed in.
You might have to live in the Atlantic Ocean, like 100 kilometers off the coast.
See, my favorite place in the whole planet, in the whole world, is Florida.
Okay.
That's it. That's the bottom line, period. So they should make that their own state.
Florida man.
Yeah, that's
it.
it.
Snow, buddy. You know, we can agree to disagree on the Trump stuff.
Yeah.
But fuck, I love this convo.
Yeah, me and him. Yeah, this is the only guy I would probably not kill over the talks that we have.
Add me to the list. I don't want to be killed either. But Paul and I are proud. We're part of the Defiance here. We're gonna stand up for this country, right? Elbows up, right, Paul?
So you voted for?
I voted from a guy named James Maloney, who's my MP, and he's a Liberal Party member. Yeah.
You didn't vote for Carney?
Well, I voted for Carney's party.
Oh, Jesus.
Well, I'm not alone. Snow, I'm not alone. Toronto, look at Toronto. Almost every riding went to the Liberal Party.
Look at Toronto. Look at it. Who lives here?
So Pierre Poilievre's your guy.
No.
You need a...
He flopped. He got scared.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He should have went to Joe Rogan and did all the podcasts, your podcast,
I don't think that flies up here. I feel like
that flies everywhere. These are the biggest in the planet. You fly. If it don't fly for one person, you got to go hustle. He didn't hustle, but I'm not really into. I just wanted to be a good country and run right, and you know what I mean, positive. There's a lot of people who are not obeying our Canadian laws with all these immigrants, people coming in and stuff, but I don't want to get into that.
Well, we'll save this for the sequel, okay? That's when we get into the heavy duty real talk.
Yeah, Canada, we got to, we're going to be number one when the Leafs win, too, right? So.
Well, because you're going to record a new version of Informer, and we're going to win the Stanley Cup. All right, Snow, man, you're now an FOTM, friend of Toronto Mike. We're going to get you thrown out that first pitch at Toronto Maple Leafs baseball game on Sunday. Thanks for doing this. And, Paul, thanks for bringing him here.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for this. It was beautiful.
And that brings us to the... Oh, I like the sound effects. Okay, that brings us to the end of our 1,685th show. Go to TorontoMike.com for all your Toronto Mike needs.
This could be his last.
If you don't see me again, your suspect's name is Darren O'Brien.
Yeah.
I repeat, the suspect's name is Darren O'Brien.
Mike and Paul missing.
MIA. There's only one suspect. Much love to Great Lakes Brewery.
Much love.
Palma Pasta. Hey, can I give you a lasagna from Palma Pasta to take home?
I love
I got one in my freezer.
I love it. Lasagna.
Snow's taking a lasagna from Palma Pasta. Moneris, you've got your speaker.
I got my speaker
yes, we're
right
open.
here.
RecycleMyElectronics.ca. Toronto Maple Leafs baseball. Again, it's Sunday, 1:30, beyond the left field fence. Come by. Rob Butler's going to sign a baseball for you. Get your butt over there. And watch history being made. Building Toronto Skyline, of course, and Ridley Funeral Home. This measuring tape is yours, Snow. That's courtesy of Ridley Funeral Home.
12 inches of snow?
12 inches of snow. See you all. Who's up next? Mino Versteeg from Colorado is my guest tomorrow. See you all then.